In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a 4-step process you can follow to carry out pretty much any DIY work on your car yourself. For many years of tinkering away on my car, or cars as is the case now with a project in the garage, I've kind of found processes that do and don't work. So I've actually compiled this 4-step process then that you can use yourself if you want to carry out any future DIY task all by yourself. And stick around to the end of the video as well, because I'll also share with you one bonus tip as well that should also help you with this 4-step process. So first up, diagnosing the issue with the car. So you want to make sure that the parts you'll be maybe getting later on for this job are the correct parts to solve the issue. You don't be fitting parts to the car and finding they don't actually solve the issue and therefore you're wasting money. So we'll use, say, the back wheel wearing as an example. Maybe you've got this grinding noise above a certain speed. You can type that problem into YouTube, just word for word, or into Google, and see if any videos or forums come up saying exactly what the issue is being caused by and how you go about fixing it. Maybe you've got excessive fumes in the cabin when you're parked up at traffic lights, and again, typing that into YouTube or into Google will come up maybe saying it's an exhaust gasket. Or it could be the charcoal canister on the car is past its best and it's needing replaced. But again, all these things will be listed from various other owners over the years with the answers and the relevant symptoms from it. Next up, you'll be looking to get the exact part to fix the issue with the car. So we'll use brake disc for example here. So if you go to an online car parts place and type in your details of your car, you might find about 16 different sizes of brake disc for your car, sadly. So what I've done in the past with my car is I've actually managed to get my hands through the spokes of the alloys. So if that's possible for your car, get one of these kind of dressmaker flexible tape measures, wrap it around the circumference of the brake disc. Bit of maths here, divide it by 3.14 and you'll get the diameter of that brake disc, and therefore when you go online you can find the exact size that you require. Another one would be going back to the wheel bearing issue. On the back of my Cupra I had this issue. You'll go online and find out it is the wheel bearing that's causing the issue I need to replace, and then when you go into a car parts place, on my car for the Cupra, there's two different diameter sizes. There's a 32mm and a 30mm. Actually, in my car, there's a 30mm on one side and a 32mm on the other side. Most cars shouldn't be like that. Anyway, you want to make sure you order the correct part for your car, obviously. So there might be certain kind of visual features on the different types of wheel bearing that you can identify in your car first before you then order that part online. Now, fortunately on cars, there's a lot of parts that actually have the part number stamped on them somewhere or embossed into the plastic. For an example here, I had ballast for my xenon lights on the Cupra, and one wasn't working, so once I diagnosed what the problem was, it wasn't a bulb, I found out it was the ballast instead, because both bulbs did actually work. Then you can see there that the part number is clearly visible on the ballast, and I'll then show you what to do in a second with that part number. And again, a piece of trim on the car doesn't look like there could be much on it at all, but if you look closely down there, if that catches the light properly, you'll see there's the part number. But sadly, this isn't always the case. There's not always part number stamped on stuff, or if there has been part number, sometimes it's just worn off over the year. Going into my project Ibiza here, once I step over all the rubbish in my garage, you will find, I've got an example here with this water hose, and you can see there in the light, there's a bit of the rubber missing from the water hose. Now sadly, looking at the hose, there's not actually any part number stamped in it at all, so we need to try and figure out what that part number is so we can then use that as a reference to then look for a replacement. So starting off with if you've got a part number on something as an example. Going by the ballast here, we've got the number on the bottom, which we can then go and type into Google, and straight away along the top there you see a number of options for this ballast. Now some are second hand and some are new, but there's a good chance that most of these prices here will be for aftermarket ones and not original equipment. If you then go and type in Valio into the description at the same time, because that's the brand of the original one, you can find that Autodoc has a brand new one available for £111, also one on eBay for £135, very expensive indeed. But when I did order this for my car to get it fixed, I popped it into eBay, the number on this, and this is the one I got. So going by the picture before I ordered it, I did check the specs to make sure it was the same kind of details, so 35 watts and 2,000 hours there. Make sure the part number matches, and mine's got a Seat logo, it's got Seat and Volkswagen on my original one here, not genuine Valio, or else it would be a lot more expensive. But for £26 I thought I'd give it a go, and even if it lasted like 1 or 2 years, it's still worth trying. But it's been perfect actually since, it's not given me any issues at all, it worked straight away out of the box, and I was really happy with it for the price. Now remember I mentioned the wheel bearing with being different diameters, so going into Autodoc here where I get the majority of my parts from, I looked for my car, the wheel bearing for the back of the car, and I whittled down to one make. I was wanting to just get one make, and then I look at the different specs for each one and I can find that inner diameter on one is 32mm and the inner diameter on the other is 30mm. So by looking at the pictures, I'm trying now to look for any kind of standout features that make them look different. So going by the different views of this one here, the front just is the front of the hub as you'd expect. And there's a rear picture of this one here, and you can see the sort of raised parts on the back of the wheel bearing. So that's the 30mm diameter one, so we'll go back to the other one. And with 32mm diameter here, you can see on the back of the wheel bearing, it's actually completely flat. So what I'd done before I ordered either of these online was I'd gone under the car and I checked in behind the wheel to see if I could see the back of the wheel bearing, which I could. And I'm looking for the standout features of the raised part of the back of the bearing, or if it's just completely flat. The one I looked at, in my case, was the flat one, so I ordered two 32mm diameters. That was wrong because I looked at the other side at the exactly same time. I would have seen the other wheel bearing on the opposite side had raised parts on it, and it was the 30mm. Very strange setup on my car for some reason. It wasn't me, I've not changed these hubs at any point in my life, but yeah, just something that I would look out for if I'm trying to do something that's got really similar parts. So then finally, that pesky water hose on the Ibiza here that has no part number whatsoever anywhere on it, and just typing in water hose onto Google for an Ibiza could throw up millions of different options for it. So what I would recommend using is a website called LLL Parts, and here you can basically find there's certain brands or vehicles it covers, and luckily Seat is here, so clicking on Seat Parts here, rather than entering your brand and model stuff down here, go down a bit further on the left and you can see these diagrams available. So browse through this. I'm going for Seat in Europe, down to my Ibiza, choosing your year, which is 2007 for this one. And then this could be a number of options available. This is where it does get a bit tricky. A number of diagrams to search through, there's a lot, and you need to kind of figure out what subheading it's coming under as well. I'd expect it to be cooling originally, but it's actually under engine when I did search for this, because I have got one ready to order. And scrolling down through here, again, like I said, there's loads of different diagrams for different parts of the engine, as you'd expect. And as I get down here, I'm now seeing diagrams that have the coolant top-up bottle on it as well. So now I'm looking for a diesel engine, 1.9 diesel, which I have here, and this seems to be one that's standing out as the only one for my car. Clicking on this, it's got exactly what I'm looking for, and then navigating this part can be a bit complicated, but as long as you start noticing bits that the part connects into other standout features, you can work out what part you're looking for. So I know that this hose pipe connects into the base of the top-up bottle here on the left, so if I then follow the dotted line down to the actual hose, there it is, number 18. I can then go across to the side of this table here where it's got all the part numbers listed, and there is the part number for that coolant hose. So I would then just right click on it, go down to copy that text, and basically enter that into Google or any other kind of parts platform online. And I do admit openly that I quite often order things from eBay. There's sometimes no issue with things from eBay, especially if they come from good sellers online. There's nothing wrong with the quality of those products, and sometimes you get a lot of good prices on genuine products for your car. So going onto eBay, typed this code in, and there was quite a few options for it. So this would be the issue here with eBay, is a lot of the postage prices could be quite high depending where you stay in Europe. They all seem to come from Lithuania for these first three options here, and various postage. Obviously I'd go for the cheaper one out of the three there. And you'd be looking just to check that the part number does match the same as your car, and obviously that the picture does match as well. As you scroll down further, you'll find then there's results matching fewer words, and these ones might not actually be the same hose. It's a very similar looking hose, but if you look closely, it's got like a plastic molded end on it as well, which is no use for my one. Same with the next part and so on. So yeah, do be careful, because there will be different variations for part numbers that differ slightly. Another strange option is actually Amazon. So be surprised how many genuine car parts or replacement car parts that are up to quality you can get from there. And I've got a lot myself over the years. So typing the part number into Amazon in the search bar doesn't actually bring up any water hoses for the car, so I couldn't go here for an option. You can then also try other type of performance websites that sometimes offer standard replacement parts for your car as well. So for the VAG scene, AKS Tuning is well known for a place to come for performance parts for your car, but also just standard replacement parts as well if they can get them in. You can also try your local Seat dealership if you have one nearby. Give them a phone up with the part number you've got. They'll look up in the system. They'll find it for you. They'll probably have to order it in for you as well, but sadly this means they'll also probably charge you over the phone there and then. And knowing them, because it's a genuine part from the dealership, they'll charge you an inflated price as well. So with all those options I've just previously mentioned, there's one option I tend to always go for myself first actually, and I just go straight to Autodoc. I type the part number into the search bar. Just make sure if you are searching under your own vehicle and you're searching for then a part for a different car, make sure you click on the show results for all vehicles, because it will just siphon out everything else if you've got your car selected. So there's a water hose for the Ibiza 1263, cheap price, and delivery costs for myself from Autodoc are usually about £8.50, I think it is. So I'd be looking to be ordering a lot more items through Autodoc at the same time as this, just to make it worthwhile. I think if you order over £150, you get free delivery as well, so just cancel it off then. So it can maybe add up a bit more if you're ordering from Autodoc, but just make sure if you are doing that, you kind of preempt upcoming services or work on the car, so you can order those parts as well at the same time and make the delivery charge worth your while. Just before I come off the screen, actually scrolling down here, I see that there is another hose available, the same one, for £57, and this is probably the genuine original equipment, which actually it states there in the description. So this would be probably what's already on the car as it is, and probably be this part that you'd find from a Seat dealership if you ordered the part through them. So your parts have now come home and you're ready to put them on the car, but you need to know the processes to carry out this task. So what you could do first of all is subscribe to this channel, of course, where we do a lot of how-to videos covered on the channel that you can follow along to yourself, and that'll save you basically the whole research process because I do all that for you and then show you in a video. You could of course watch other YouTube channels as well. There's a lot of really good high quality informative content out there. Two of the channels I watch a lot of just now is Humble Mechanic. He's very much into his VAG cars, so his Audis and his Volkswagens. He does really good high quality detailed videos with all the specs involved, and it's really well filmed as well. I'm very jealous of his workshop that's extremely well lit and not like this kind of dingy cluttered garage of mine. Another good channel that I watch a lot of is Decimal Tenths. So Nick is an expert basically in TFSI and TSI engines. He does a lot of videos that also focuses on in-depth kind of diagnostics of the cars, and then also sorting any issues with the mechanical running of the engine, and does really, again, in-depth videos that cover all the parts of a process from start to finish. So definitely check out that channel as well if you're looking for any help. If you'd rather not be watching videos but rather have documents alongside you can follow along to, there's a few options online for this. So first up we have Irwin. Now I just basically typed in Seat Irwin because I knew about Irwin, and I just typed in the Seat at the start of it to see what came up, and this one came up, which looks all fine, although it is from China. It's a China version, and you can basically get a one-day kind of access to their manuals. I think you can maybe just view them, I'm not sure, although no, sorry, it does say print all documents and information, so you must be able to download it and print it off as well on your computer. But yeah, one day including printing rights is 239, I think that's yen, apologies if that's incorrect. And looking on Google, that's a surprising conversion of £1.26 for that, which is extremely cheap just for one day. I had to try and purchase this earlier on today, but sadly, when you add it to your basket and then you want to create an account, register, it comes up with that Aero 404 code basically. So that wasn't working, maybe because I'm not in the correct country for it and it won't actually serve people from the UK. Another company online is Solera. So again, there's a trial that you'd have to pay for, just 1 month unlimited access for 1 month free trial, which actually seems quite good value for money. I'm not going to bother going for this, but you can see on the screen there what they offer for that trial, and saying there that you can access step-by-step repair procedures, car wiring diagrams, DTCs, whatever that is, and much more to help technicians reduce diagnostic errors, increase productivity, and stay ahead in the industry. So I think this is kind of more aimed for your garages and your workshops, where technicians can just jump online, access this system if they are some reason stuck on a car that day. And then we move on to this website called Easy Manuals. So I actually downloaded off Easy Manuals a couple of days ago and I've tried this out myself. They offer workshop manuals for pretty much every car that's been made. So you just type in your car make along the bottom here, then search for it, and then just look for the one that's relevant to the age of your car. So we're looking for PDF Workshop Repair Manual 2005-2012. And just going by pictures here, you can see roughly what it's looking like on the screen, and then your two buying options. So there's two buying options there. There's a $14.99 option, which is basically just a download to your computer. You get a zip file which you download, then you open it up, expand it, and it gives you all the manuals as PDFs on your system. And then you can just access them whenever you want. The other option is $29.99. It's for a USB stick that's got all the stuff preloaded onto it for you, and then basically you can just pop it onto a computer, copy them onto that computer, and then take the USB stick out and use it somewhere else as well. So as you can see here, I've actually downloaded it all onto the computer. I paid the $14.99, I downloaded all the manuals that it gave me from the zip file, and now basically have access to these service documents that are basically used inside workshops and Seat dealerships. We'll go into one here just to show you what's involved with it. So open up to full screen. And you can see that the manual actually covers a various number of Seat brands here, not just the Leon itself, because they all kind of share the same sort of working gear. And down the left there, you've got basically your various quick links to the other pages that you can then look at. And there's a very useful feature as well. If you go to the top and go to your search bar, it should be a search bar on Windows and Macs, this is a Mac, and type in something like wheel bearing. then you'll get everywhere wheel bearing is mentioned within that document that you're looking at. So you can see on the contents page it's highlighted there, and also down the left you've got a number of different pages that are listed. And if you're looking to find information on a rear wheel bearing for this, you maybe want to type that into the search bar as well to make it more specific. So I've applied for an affiliate link with Easy Manuals, so I'll leave that down below in the description when I get that activated, so you can use that if you want to buy one for yourself. And if you do buy one through that link, you obviously help support the channel, which I really appreciate. Now obviously if you don't want to pay for anything like this or be spending ages researching it on YouTube, then what you could just do is just get stuck straight in. If it's not too complex a job and it's not too safety focused, if that makes sense, like brakes, I would say nothing wrong with giving it a go yourself. It might take a lot longer doing it that way, but then the next time you do it later on down the line, a few years later, you'll know it's way easier that time because you've done it before. I forgot to actually mention my own job cards I now do for older videos, and I'm going to be doing them for future videos as well. Job cards that will detail the tools you need, the processes for what you need to do the job, and also the torque specs as well. All detailed on this job card that you can print off or have on your phone beside you. The free access is basically granted through the free newsletter that I do every month as well. So sign up to the newsletter and then get access to these job cards forevermore by using the link down below in the description or in the pinned comment. So finally, the bonus tip is Facebook groups. Now, I know a lot of you will be screaming at the screen just now saying, I know about Facebook groups or I'm part of it, so it's not a big deal. There's still a lot of people, probably the majority of owners of cars, that don't know about how good these groups are and how being a part of them can save them so much time and solve a lot of problems for them. Now, just a few rules you should follow when you're going onto these car Facebook groups. So first of all, make sure it's for a car that you've actually got yourself. There's no point being in a group that's not relevant to you. There'll be various questions when you apply to be in that group that you have to answer, and obviously certain rules that they'll say as well, like no swearing is pretty much across every Facebook group, and it's quite much self-explanatory. Facebook does clamp down on groups that have swearing in amongst the comments, and then it takes the group down completely. So one bad comment from one member could basically destroy a whole Facebook group, sadly. Once you're in your group, you'll find it is just full of previous posts by owners which are basically either giving tips of their own or they're asking questions with people then answering them down below in the comments. There's a lot of knowledgeable members in these groups and they really know their stuff, so there's bound to be someone that might have either experienced the issue you've got and then have answered it in one of these posts. Now before you post a query in the group for your own car, it's always worth checking the search function first. So on mobile, the search will be at the very top of the groups page, just here on desktops at the side, and then you just type in something like wheel bearing. And basically brings up all the previous questions regarding wheel bearings from over the last number of years. So what I do when I'm doing this kind of research on the group myself is you're just looking for the question that's been asked and seeing if it comes close to what you're asking as well. And if it does, then you just look into the comments to see what people have answered if they've managed to find the solution to the problem. So sticking with the wheel bearing theme, it seems Kyle's asked here about wheel bearings for his Leon. He's looking at Autodoc, not sure which one, and he's not willing to pay Europcar part prices of £130 for it. I think James here said about making sure they're good quality bearings, you kind of pay for what you get, maybe trying a main dealer to see what they quote because they might be a decent price for the main dealer. And actually just noticed here, Craig has done, back in 2018 actually, has done a really good wheel bearing removal kind of how-to basically within the group, a useful how-to there in amongst the members group. But say you've trawled through all of these previous posts and you still haven't found any answer to the problem you've got with your car, it seems to be a unique question you've got for your one, then you basically just go back to the main member screen here and then start typing in your question, and preferably with a couple of pictures as well, just to show the issue, or if you want to try and grab attention, having a picture below your text always seems to work a lot better than just the text with the question. When you are writing this question though, make sure that you're doing it pretty detailed, so you kind of explain when the issue's happening, if it's happening in the morning after you first start the car, is it happening when the car's up to temperature. The more explanation you can put into the question, the more chance someone's going to give you the answer back. If you just put in the car won't start, what's wrong with it, there's a good chance no one's going to have a crystal ball to tell you what's wrong with your car, so make sure you properly explain the issue with the car and what causes it usually. And finally, I think I have mentioned this before, but just about being polite on the chat. So basically, whenever you're asking a question, just make sure you're saying thanks. And when members do reply to your question, they're taking time out of their day for a few minutes to type back a reply that hopefully will help you with your issue. So just make sure you do reply to them, say thank you, or just say I'm gonna try it, whatever, and you'll get back to them and give them a reply of how you got on with it. It's just because it keeps that good kind of community spirit amongst the members within that group. So hopefully you found that kind of cheat sheet for working on your car yourself useful in some way. If you have any other ideas or suggestions, then please do leave it down below in the comment section for myself and others to see. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button, hit subscribe to catch more videos from the channel in future like this one. I'll leave in the corner up here for you. I'll catch you next time. Cheers. And with the 32mm diameter here. Car.